All right, gang. So this will be our third of kind of 4 lessons we're going to cover after spring break, all about factoring. We started with 8.8, which was factoring by grouping. Thank you. Then we did 8.5, which was factoring trinomials that are all started with 1. And today is going to look a lot like 8.5, except that our trinomials don't start with 1. Okay, look, like if you look at 1a, it says 5x squared. So these are a little bit different, but the good news is that we basically use the same strategy. Okay, we try to break up that middle term and then factor by grouping. All right. So the kind of the difference is when we think about what adds to this and what multiplies to that, we don't just look at B and C anymore. We look at this. Okay, so we want to know, and I would maybe write this out. This is our key question. We want to know what. Actually, let me write that a little bit simpler. Let's just say has product that has a C in it of A times C, and then has a sum of B still. Okay, so we look at A times C. So technically, you could say we did that in 8.5 because they were all like, C times 1. But in 8.5, we just said has a product of C and has a sum of B, right? So you got to remember it's A times C, okay? So with that, let's go ahead and do these first couple together. Just kind of go along with me here, all right? So we want to know then what adds up to 11, so no change there. What plus what is 11? And then here is kind of the new part. Instead of just the 2, we say what times what equals 10. And then you're going to look at this and wonder where the 10 came from. So in parentheses, I would just say that's 2 times 5. That's where we got the 10. Okay. Besides that, it's just the exact same. So that's the only new thing you have to remember. Not multiplies to 2, but multiplies to 2 times 5. Okay. We have worked on this skill a lot. Multiplies to this, adds to that. Does anybody know what my 2 numbers are? Will? 1 and 10. All right. 1 plus 10 is 11. 1 plus 10 or 1 times 10 is 10. Okay. So once we have that, we just split up our middle term as 10x plus 1x. Okay. So we go 5x squared plus 10x, or you could put the 1x first, plus 1x plus 2. Okay, and then again, we just factor by grouping. You can't use the shortcut here, so if you're used to skipping this step, you can't do it on these, okay? You have to factor by grouping, all right, which we all know how to do anyway, so it's fine, okay? So out of the first pair, what's my GCF? Anybody shout it out? 5x, very good. And that would leave me with 1x plus 2. What about the GCF of the second pair, 1x and 2? If there is no GCF, what goes into everything? 1, right? So we write plus 1 times x plus 2. So our final answer is going to be x plus 2 times 5x plus 1. That's right. Heard you guys saying it. That's great. 5x plus 1 and 1x plus 2. So again, two kind of things that are important you have to remember, right? They don't multiply out to 2. They multiply out to 2 times 5. And also, you can't use the shortcut, okay? So like in 8.5, once we came up with like the 10 and the 1, you could kind of almost know what the answer was. That doesn't work here, okay? You got to factor by grouping, okay? All right, so let's do another one, maybe work through it a little bit quicker. Okay, so on B, we want what plus what equals 13. And what times what equals, what are they going to multiply to here? 30, right? 5 times 6. Very good. So I'll give you a second to think about that. Does anybody know yet? Abby? 10 and 3. Very good. 3 plus 10 is 13. 3 times 10 is 30. So then we're off and running from there. Okay. So I'm going to split it up as plus 10x and plus 3x. And then I'm going to kind of work through the rest of this one without really talking through it, so you can try the rest on your own, or you can just stay with me if you need a little bit more help. Bless you. And the answer is up there whenever you want to check it. Or if you're staying with me, you're just getting it down. And then before we move on, I'm going to pause here for a second and see if anybody has any questions about any of the steps or anything else like that before you try one on your own. So, you can work with your elbow partner or those people around you. So you can see that these are a little bit tougher, okay? But again, we kind of have used this strategy before, so hopefully that makes these tougher ones that much easier, okay? Doesn't look like we have any questions, so I'm going to give you about 2 minutes on C to get ahead of me, all right? And just do whatever you can. Some will finish in 2 minutes. Some will have trouble coming up with the 2 numbers you need in 2 minutes, right? But do what you can, and this is where you kind of self-assess where you're at. Do you know what you're looking for to start? Do you know what to do with those 2 numbers when you find them? And so on and so forth. So for anybody who's having a little bit of trouble, can anybody give me my 2 numbers I need here to break up the middle factor? Will? It's going to be 6 and 1 because those multiply to 6, add to 7. 6 and 1 are the 2 numbers you need. If you had trouble coming up with that, you can thank Mr. Croft for the information. So guys, hopefully from what I have written on the board, it's pretty simple. If it's not, like if you don't know how to factor by grouping from here, when I give you the 4 terms, that means you need to go back and do 8, 8, right? Because these are a lot easier than 8, 8 once we get the 4 terms. The challenge on these is splitting that middle term up, okay? All right, anybody think they have the final answer, and I'll show the work? Miller? All right, 1x plus 2 and 3x plus 1. Either order, it doesn't matter, okay? So anyways, once you've split up the middle term, Out of my first two terms, I could pull a 3x, depending on which order you put them in. That would leave me with x plus 2. Out of the second pair, there is no GCF, so we just do plus 1 times x plus 2. And then we finalize our answer, 3x plus 1 times 1x plus 2. And again, order doesn't matter when you're multiplying. So if you had x plus 2 times 3x plus 1, you got it right. Okay. All right. So to me, these are going to be your toughest problems, like that are going to be on your test. So if you're feeling good so far, that's a good thing. Okay. All right. So we'll just keep going. And then the only difference between these examples and our last examples are that they end in a minus. Okay. So a little bit tougher number sense wise. Other than that, it's the same strategy. So at any point on these, if you feel like working ahead of me, feel free. I may call on you for a little bit of help, but you can feel free to work ahead and check as we go. All right. So we want to together kind of come up with what is going to multiply to, and this is going to be kind of a bigger number, but negative 45. Because that's 15 times 3, negative 15 times 3, and adds to positive 4, okay? That's the whole key right there. So multiplies to negative 45, adds to positive 4. I'll give you about 10 seconds, and then I'll call on or see if we can come up with that. It looks like a lot of people are sitting having it, so that's great. If you can come up with these that quick, this is the challenging part. Anybody have the combo? Anybody I haven't heard from yet today have the combo? No, that's all right. Abby, go ahead. Negative 5 and positive 9 would be correct. Actually, sorry. 9 and 5 are correct, but negative 5, positive 9. Yeah. Negative 5, positive 9 are our winning combo. Okay. All right. So once we have that, it should be pretty elementary. Okay. Pretty much. You know what to do from there. So that'd be 3x squared minus 5x plus 9x minus 15. And again, I'll work pretty silently from here. Stay with me if you need to, or go ahead and do your own thing and check with me at the end, if not. Oh, what am I doing? Sorry. If you were staying with me, I screwed up on the first one. Bless you. All right, so I have it worked to the bottom. Feel free to take your time and finish up on your own, and then you can check with me. Anybody have any questions on the x plus 3 times 3x minus 5? All right, so let's do one more kind of pretty tough one, and then you guys will do a practice one. Then we may take a little bit of a break and see how much time we have left. Okay. All right, so thinking about our numbers here, they're going to multiply to and add to 31. What are they going to multiply to in this case? Negative 140. Do we like know our factors of 140 pretty well? Probably not, right? So this is probably a good case where, you know, maybe you use your calculator to write them out. Some of this we do mentally. 140 is a pretty big number, right? So maybe you go off to the side there and write out your 140s, okay? I would need a visual on this. So 1 times 140, 2 times, and then, you know, you could do 140 divided by 2 to come up with 70. 3 doesn't go into 140. 4, I believe, does. So here's how you could do it. 140 divided by 4 is 35. And then you kind of keep going. But I will tell you that the kind of the winning pair is up there. Does anybody know how I could make, the signs aren't right, but does anybody know how I could make one of those 3 combinations work? So obviously one's going to have to be negative, one's going to have to be positive, but we want them to kind of, we're focused on adds to 31. So which ones are 31 apart? Kylie? All right, so 35 and negative 4. Very good. So you want the 35 to be positive, you want the 4 to be negative. And we know that because our sum is positive. Sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes you got to go off to the side, right? So 35 times negative 4. You should be good to go from there. I'll write it up. So final answer is kind of up there whenever you're ready. Is everybody, so once we get it split into 4 terms, is everybody feeling kind of okay, at least from here down? And if the answer to that is no, that means you probably need to go back and do 8, 8, right? You can't do these steps without having done 8, 8. The new challenge is, right, coming up with the 35 and the negative 4, right? That would be the challenging bit is a little bit tough, okay? It is, okay? So no questions? All right, so before we kind of take a break or anything, I want you to try one with not much help, okay? So here we have 2x minus 1x minus 3. You're trying to factor that out, okay? I would encourage you to work with your partner, okay? Hey, Isaiah, if you gotta take your spots on when you're talking and stuff, okay? I don't mind you moving over here, but I'm talking over here. Can't be doing that, okay? All right, thank you, sir. Love to hear from somebody maybe I haven't heard from yet today. So just so we're not sitting there stuck thinking about it, anybody have the combination that adds to negative 1, multiplies to negative 6? Avery? Negative 3 and 2. Very good. So if you weren't able to come up with that yet, See if you know what to do with the -3 and the 2. I keep messing up. All right, so I'm finishing it up now. But again, the idea is hopefully once you get the -3 and the 2, you kind of know how to handle it from there. So our two factors are 2x minus 3 and 1x plus 1. Anybody have any questions before we take a short break? All right, so we'll go ahead and do that. Take like a 3-minute break. What time do we get out of here? Okay, so we'll finish up example 3A before we go. So take a 3-minute break. We'll finish up 3A right as we're going out the door there, okay? So get up, move around for a second. Feel free to work ahead if you want on 3A, and then you can just check at the end or be ready to chime in with some help or whatever you need. And our microphone's still working, so the video is going to be good. Hate it when I'm making a video and then I look like halfway in, the microphone stopped working. Happens all the time. I don't know what that is. Raglan, our Braves had a so-so start to the year. 2-2 split with the Reds, but I have. It's like a convertible kind of thing or something. Is that what it is? Okay, I knew they opened up. I didn't see what the deal was. What happened when you opened it? So it's got the stadium in there. That's cool. Really?
Yeah, you have a little stadium here.
That's sweet.
Yeah, you have all people get 44.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Well, Hank Aaron. Very nice. Very nice. That's still so cool, man. We're just the World Series champs. It's like when you get to be a little older like me, you just realize that like that just barely ever happens. Your team barely ever wins, you know. And it's cool when they do. Hopefully we get what's his name back this year, and he's pretty solid again. Who's our pitcher who's been out the last couple of years? No, he pitched already. He looked good. Shoot, I can't think of his name. Big Canadian guy. I'll think of it. He was supposed to be like our stud a couple years ago. Then he tore his ACL. I can't believe I can't think of his name. Soroka. Mike Soroka. I had to cheat. All right, guys. So here we go. Let's go ahead and finish up this last one. So if you got this as a word problem on the test, again, it says the area of the rectangle is this. You don't necessarily have to rewrite that, but I would kind of focus in on the word rectangle, where length and width aren't the same, right? Length and width aren't the same. What we need to do, obviously, is factor it. So if anybody's worked ahead just for time purposes, can anybody tell me what multiplies to negative 14, adds to negative 13? Or you might be able to come up with it real quick. Will? Negative 14 and 1 is correct. Thank you. See if you guys can take it from there, okay? So just for the video, I'm going to go ahead and finish it up. All right, so I went ahead and factored it. Now, if you remember this one, like if you worked the whole 8-5 assignment, we did this right, but MathXL would count this wrong. Does anybody remember what they want you to add that we don't normally have? Yeah, just a comma. So you might want to put a note here just for MathXL on your area problem. You need a comma there. I'm going to put that in a bright color. So for this one, it wants a comma. All right, so that'll conclude our day 1 video. We'll do example 4 tomorrow, and we'll have some time to work on the assignment. It'll be posted, though, if anybody wants to work ahead.